Well, well, hello there. It's been a while. You know, this last year, the last half of 2017 and the first half of 2018 it's not been kind to me. Could say it's probably one of the worst, if not the worst, years of my life, honestly. And I know people don't care, but that explains where I've been and why I've been gone and not making any new videos for a few months. Just, it's crazy how much life just shits on you sometimes, and how much you can lose. It makes me I miss 2013 and I miss 2014, my teenage years, when the worries I did have weren't so messed up and the problems I had weren't so grand. When the things getting me depressed were the fact that I couldn't get homework done on time, or I was getting bullied at school. Not all this. After a lot of moping, it kind of makes you yearn for the older days, I suppose. That gives me an idea. Why don't we try and go back to those older days? Just, let's find some nice, wholesome... Let's get nostalgic. And for this channel, what better way to get nostalgic than... fuck yeah, Pokemon Creepypasta. I think this story will do nicely, considering that it's the one I had popped up on the screen. A Forgotten Flame. So, for one more time, join me in reading or listening to a really great Pokemon creepypasta. Enjoy. So I was playing my Soul Silver game that I'd had for about a year now. I bought an action replay and was hacking it almost every day, getting legendaries and Pokemon not able to be attained by any means but trade, which was out of the question for me. In my team I had a Typhlosion, a Charizard, a Raichu, a shiny Umbreon, a Nidoking, and an Ampharos, and all level 100. Inevitably, I became bored of being able to just beat every opponent I came across in the game, so I decided right then and there that I would restart my game, and I did. I chose the Cyndaquil again, since it is my favourite starter Pokemon, being so used to hacking. I used codes for things such as 900 rare candies, and leveled Cinder, the Cyndaquil I chose, up to level 13, so I could at least battle with him a few times. Soon I had him evolve after battling many Pidgeys and Rattars. I realised that I still hadn't gotten the egg from Mr. Pokemon, so I went ahead and retrieved it. This is when I used the hack to fill my Pokédex. I discovered a modifier code that allowed me to choose what Pokemon I encountered, so I chose Charmander. I captured one and named it Charcoal, putting it in the second spot of my team, between the egg and Cinder, who is now a Quilava. I figured I could use the trigger buttons to chain the Charmander so I could get a shiny. This apparently didn't work with the version I had, so I'd done it all for nothing. I restarted the game after saving and putting in a new code, one that made all wild and legendary Pokemon shiny permanently. I wound up with a shiny Charmander, naming it Chimney. Obviously, I was going to get more attached to this shiny Charmander. I battled with it in almost every encounter and trainer confrontation. Soon it evolved into Charmeleon at level 16. By now, I had in my team Cinder the Quilava, Faust, the shiny Flareon, Chimney, the shiny Charmeleon, an Egg, and Charcoal, the Charmander. I hadn't used Charcoal in ages. All my battles were fought by Cinder and Chimney, my most powerful Pokemon. Faust snuck in there a few times, and the egg had just hatched, so I was using a XP share to level Togepi up. Charcoal remained at level 6 in the very back of my team. I didn't think much of it. It's just a game. I could just wait and level him up later. It wasn't too big a deal at this point. Then came the day I turned on my game and battled the Elite Four. Cinder was a Typhlosion, Chimney, a shiny Charizard, what I'd been waiting for so long. By now I'd quit using the AR in-game, so all my battles were fair in a sense that I wasn't using any codes. I defeated them all one by one. The champion came and went down in a crash. I was the new champion. I travelled into Kanto to see Professor Oak. He gave me a lecture, and finally, I got to choose my starter for the region. I was obviously going to choose a Charmander since I have a thing for fire types, and when I pressed A, the little window that held the sprite popped up. Only thing was, the sprite was missing, and the cry didn't play either, but in its place was this odd sort of fuzzy sound. It was sort of like a Charmander's cry, but with a bunch of white noise and toned down a lot. I was a bit confused. I figured it was from all my previous hacking. I must have broken the code that has it pop up, but nothing like this has ever happened before. I exited the window and tapped on my Pokemon icon. All the names had been changed to RMEMBRME. Remember me. And all the levels were the same, at level 6. Except Charcoal. He was completely normal, but his level had changed to just 3 question marks, kind of like you would get with the missing no, 3 question marks. Now, I was freaked out. I went to Charcoal's summary and checked him out. The sprite looked the same, except he was frowning, and his eyes seemed to be outlined with a dark red. I still thought it was some kind of glitch, but the more I mulled it over, the more it was drawn away from being just a mere glitch. These don't cause graphical sprite changes or sprites to frown, nor do they cause names and levels to be changed so oddly. I exited the summary and went back to my Pokemon. They were all still the same. I decided to keep playing since the situation didn't seem too bad, just a bit creepy. I wandered into some tall grass and encountered a Pokemon. It was just a normal Rattata. I sent out Chimney, but when he emerged from the Pokeball, he didn't cry. He didn't even move. I noticed something even more peculiar about him. Just after the shiny animation finished, his eyes were hollow and black as night. They seemed surrounded by crimson as well. I forced myself on. I tapped the fight option and apparently he lost all moves but Perish Song, which wasn't possible for him to learn, and of course I didn't teach him that. I sighed and tapped on the odd move. The only thing that happened was that the Rattata turned black and then disintegrated. I sat there for a moment as the battle ended, and now this wasn't a glitch. I was getting freaked out for real. The odd happenings in the game so far just interest me too much. Of course I had to keep going. I went back and checked my Pokemon again. Their names were changed yet again. This time though, Charcoal was missing. All that was left were my Typhlosion, named Gotu, my Charizard named Lav, my new Togekiss named EN, and Flareon named DER, and my freshly evolved Ampharos named Town. I caught the message immediately. Go to Lavender Town. I couldn't stop myself from going. I used Lav to fly to Lavender Town, which for some reason was already able to be flown to. When I arrived, no music played. I checked my team again in case any more messages were there. Of course there was. Gotu was now Po, Lav was now Ki, EN was now Mon, and Town was now Tower. Again, I caught the message, Pokemon Tower. I followed the message's commands, entering the tower. I travelled up the stairs, not encountering a single ghost or anything. When I came to the end, I found a Charmander sprite. I went up to it and pressed A to talk with it as if it had anything to say. It did. I encountered a battle with it. When the Charmander slid across the screen like any other Pokemon would, I recognized it on the spot. Its name was Charcoal, and its level, 3 question marks. He looked as though his eyes had been cut out, and the blood wiped away clean. Hollow, black as a pit. His nose was bleeding, but he wasn't frowning anymore. He had no mouth to frown with. All that remained was an exposed lower jawbone, and his flame was even out. The battle music didn't play, All that appeared was a text box that usually announces what you've encountered, but it had another message for me. Why did you forget me? I pressed A for the next message, but nothing happened. It seemed like he was talking this time. Another message popped up. I loved you. Don't you love me too? I was tempted to reply. I mean, of course I loved him. He was my Pokemon. I began to feel bad, waiting for the next message. You never battled with me, never looked at me. I waited all this time. The sprite moved now. It had the same animation as a normal Charmander would, but the cry was all fuzzy.
You let me rot.
The message shocked me. I almost said something, but another message stopped me.
It's your fault.
The messages kept coming. Every one sent a shiver up my spine.
I've rotted away. You let me die. Are you happy? Is this what you wanted? Look at me. Look at me! Look at me!
The sprite shook again, crying out the fuzzy, somewhat mournful, eerie noise. I was almost trembling now, sweat dripping down my cheek. There was one last message that popped up.
Remember me.
Then the screen went black. I left the console alone for a few months. When I finally built up enough courage to start again, I didn't hack it. I played through all the way at Kanto with normal training. When I got to pick my starter again, I chose Charmander. I put him in front and began training him like the others until we'd beaten the Elite Four together and finally the champion. Our names were entered into the Hall of Fame. I felt a sort of chill go up my spine as my Charizard was shown, and his name flashed across the page. Charcoal. Wow. That was really good. I liked that. It really does take me back to those old times, you know? Back when it was just me and a microphone and just basic having fun. As crazy as that sounds. But, you know, if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I hope that each and every one of you have a very awesome day. And if there is a next time, I'll catch you then.